Approximants are speech sounds that involve the articulators approaching each other but not narrowly enough nor with enough articulatory precision to create turbulent airflow. Therefore, approximants fall between fricatives, which do produce a turbulent airstream, and vowels, which produce no turbulence. This class of sounds includes lateral approximants like L, non-lateral approximants like and semi-vowels like J and W. Before Peter Ladefoged coined the term approximant in the 1960s, the term frictionless continuant referred to non-lateral approximants, semi-vowels. Some approximants resemble vowels in acoustic and articulatory properties, and the terms semi-vowel and glide are often used for these non-syllabic, vowel-like segments. The correlation between semi-vowels and vowels is strong enough that cross-language differences between semi-vowels correspond with the differences between their related vowels. Vowels and their corresponding semi-vowels alternate in many languages depending on the phonological environment, or for grammatical reasons, as is the case with Indo-European ablaut. Similarly, languages often avoid configurations where a semi-vowel precedes its corresponding vowel. A number of phoneticians distinguish between semi-vowels and approximants by their location in a syllable. Although he uses the terms interchangeably, Montroy remarks that, for example, the final glides of English pa and bai differ from French pa and bail in that, in the latter pair, the approximants appear in the syllable coda, whereas, in the former, they appear in the syllable nucleus. This means that opaque contrasts can occur in languages like Italian and Spanish. Because of the articulatory complexities of the American English rhotic, there is some variation in its phonetic description. A transcription with the IPA character for an alveolar approximant is common, though the sound is more post-alveolar. Actual retroflexion may occur as well, and both occur as variations of the same sound. However, Catford makes a distinction between the vowels of American English and vowels with retroflexion, such as those that appear in Badaga, Trask. On the other hand, labels both as R-colored and notes that both have a lowered third formant. Because the vowels I are articulated with spread lips, spreading is implied for their approximant analogues, JM. However, these sounds generally have little or no lip spreading. The fricative letters with a lowering diacritic, J, may therefore be justified for a neutral articulation between spread, JM, and rounded, W. In articulation and often diachronically, palatal approximants correspond to front vowels, velar approximants to back vowels, and labialized approximants to rounded vowels. In American English, the rhotic approximant corresponds to the rhotic vowel. This can create alternations. In addition to alternations, glides can be inserted to the left or the right of their corresponding vowels when they occur next to a hiatus. For example, in Ukrainian, medial I triggers the formation of an inserted J that acts as a syllable onset, so that when the affix ist is added to make football player, it is pronounced footballist, but, with the same affix, is pronounced maugist, with a glide. Dutch has a similar process that extends to mid-vowels. Bioscoop, bijskop, z plus n, zasia, fluor, flyar, reu plus n, roi, Rwanda, Ruvand, Boaz, Bovis. Similarly, vowels can be inserted next to their corresponding glide in certain phonetic environments. Siver's law describes this behavior for Germanic. Non-high semi-vowels also occur. In colloquial Nepali speech, a process of glide formation occurs, where one of two adjacent vowels becomes non-syllabic. The process includes mid-vowels so that doa features a non-syllabic mid-vowel. Spanish features a similar process, and even non-syllabic can occur so that a horita is pronounced horita. It is not often clear, however, whether such sequences involve a semi-vowel or a diphthong, and in many cases, It may not be a meaningful distinction, although many languages have central vowels I, U, which lie between back velar U and front palatal I, Y. There are few cases of a corresponding approximant. One is in the Korean diphthong I or I, though it is more frequently analyzed as velar, and Mapudungun may be another, with 3 high vowel sounds I, U, I, and 3 corresponding consonants J and with, and a third one is often described as a voiced unrounded velar fricative. Some texts note a correspondence between this approximant and I, that is, parallel to J, I, and with U. An example is LIQ, Li. Approximants versus fricatives. In addition to less turbulence, approximants also differ from fricatives in the precision required to produce them. When emphasized, approximants may be slightly fricated, which is reminiscent of fricatives. For example, the Spanish word ayuda features a palatal approximant that is pronounced as a fricative in emphatic speech. Spanish can be analyzed as having a meaningful distinction between fricative, approximant, and intermediate, JJJ. However, such frication is generally slight and intermittent, unlike the strong turbulence of fricative consonants. Because voicelessness has comparatively reduced resistance to airflow from the lungs, the increased airflow creates more turbulence, making acoustic distinctions between voiceless approximants and voiceless fricatives difficult. This is why, for example, a voiceless labialized velar approximant W has traditionally been labeled a fricative, and no language is known to contrast it with a voiceless labialized velar fricative X. Similarly, Standard Tibetan has a voiceless lateral approximant L, and Welsh has a voiceless lateral fricative L. But the distinction is not always clear from descriptions of these languages. Again, no language is known to contrast the two. I is reported to have an unusually large number of voiceless approximants, with LW. For places of articulation further back in the mouth, languages do not contrast voiced fricatives and approximants. Therefore the IPA allows the symbols for the voiced fricatives to double for the approximants, with or without a lowering diacritic. Occasionally, the glottal fricatives are called approximants, since H typically has no more frication than voiceless approximants, but they are often phonations of the glottis without any accompanying manner or place of articulation. Central approximants: bilabial approximant, beta; labiodental approximant, V; dental approximant, TH; alveolar approximant; retroflex approximant, R; palatal approximant, J; velar approximant, M; uvular approximant; pharyngeal approximant; breathy voice glottal approximant, H; creaky voice glottal approximant. Lateral approximants. In lateral approximants, the center of tongue makes solid contact with the roof of the mouth. However, the defining location is the side of the tongue, which only approaches the teeth. Voiceless alveolar lateral approximant, L. Voiced alveolar lateral approximant, L. Retroflex lateral approximant, L. Voiceless palatal lateral approximant. Voice palatal lateral approximant. Velar lateral approximant. Uvular lateral approximant. Co-articulated approximants with dedicated IPA symbols. Labialized velar approximant, W. Labialized palatal approximant, or J. Voiceless approximants. Voiceless approximants are rarely distinguished from voiceless fricatives. I has an unusually large number of them, with LW contrasting with L with attested voiceless approximants are voiceless alveolar lateral approximant, L. Voiceless velar lateral approximant. Voiceless labiodental approximant, V. Voiceless alveolar approximant. Voiceless palatal approximant, J. Voiceless labialized palatal approximant, or J. Voiceless velar approximant, M. Voiceless labialized velar approximant, or W. Voiceless glottal approximant, H. Voiceless nasal glottal approximant, H. Nasal approximants. Examples are nasal palatal approximant J, nasal labiovelar approximant W, voiceless nasal glottal approximant H. In Portuguese, the nasal glides J and W historically became N and permeter in some words. In Bini, the nasalized allophones of the approximants J and, with a nasal occlusives N and N. What are transcribed as nasal approximants may include non-syllabic elements of nasal vowels, diphthongs,